Yeah. Yeah. Oh God.
Okay.
This is a different interview already.
Yeah. No, I just got done watching like that. There was like a Vice video on like the 88 Rising like festival and like how 88 Rising came up, and I was just watching that, and I was getting hella burnt because like, who's that nigga who like he looked kind of light skinned and he got a beard and he'd be doing like radio podcast and he'd be saying mad ignorant shit and pissing people off.
I hope it's
Like
not
that's
me.
like a lot of people. the,
Uh,
the point is, there's like an old head guy who's like he was like talking in there, and I was getting mad bent because he was talking about like Asian people shouldn't say the N word and all this shit, and I was like getting mad bent. So I'm glad I have like a good like interview like right now to make me.
yeah, I hope I'm a good. I hope.
You got a dragon on your shoulder. It's already good.
Hey, that is true. That is true. But to everyone looking, hello. I hope y'all can hear me. I keep moving. This, cause the mic this. I am here with someone that was highly requested. He doesn't know he was highly requested, but he was highly requested. I kept reaching out to him, but you know he stayed working. He busy. He never stopped. I don't
Stay
have to
working.
introduce him, but
Working.
I will. Spider Gang's own Lil Darkie.
Lil Darkie, you just interviewed my boy Wendigo. I'm very happy to be talking to you.
I interviewed more people in Spider Gang. I just won't say it. It's two more. You should know who I interviewed because he lives near me. Like I hang out with him.
Good show.
Yeah. The other one,
I'm excited to see who you end up interviewing. That's tight.
Yeah, I want to get the whole gang, but we gonna start. We starting off. I got a few, so we starting off.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. Trust. We're all good people. You'll get to all of it.
Yes, I love it, man. Y'all, to me, y'all are one of the best collectives in this underground right now. Like you took over.
I'm glad. That's crazy. I'm glad. I'm also glad that I get to be here speaking to somebody. It's exciting.
That's great. I'm glad. So, of course, I'm gonna start off like I start off every interview. Just tell the people, obviously, about yourself, where you from, how you got started.
What's up? I'm Lil Darkie of Earth. I am a music person and an art person, but I'm just like an all-around artist. I feel like I don't like being called like a rapper, even though I rap. I don't like really being called like a illustrator, even though I illustrate. I feel like the title that represents me best is an artist because I feel like I just use all mediums that I can to try and impart my perspective on the world to everyone else. That's pretty much it. And that's what I do. I'm not from anywhere specifically. I've been all, but I stay in Cali. I'm most familiar with Cali, so that's what that shit is.
Okay, dope. So, just one more time, explain like everything you say. You rap, you do art.
Yeah, so like just to get specifically into what I do, I rap and sing and yell, and I also illustrate. A large part of like what I do is illustration. It presents me and who I am inside. I kind of just like I also animate. I do my own music videos. I am a cinematographer, and I want to get into even more art forms. I make garments and stuff, and I'm interested in fashion, and I also want to like get into painting and stuff more.
Dope. So yeah, like full around like artist.
Yeah, I just genuinely enjoy not only just the act of making the art, but the act of expressing myself in a way other than just like talking, you know?
Right. That's good. I like that. Okay. So, out of all your art, which form of art would you say, intrigues you more? Obviously, you're more successful in music, but do you like the drawing aspect or painting aspect more? Like, what form of art do you like most?
The form of art that I enjoy the most, I'd say, is rapping, and I'd say specifically like the performance aspect because I've always been a very isolated person, so I enjoy just like getting up in front of people and being crazy and having people be like, "What the fuck? Like this is not something I expected," and just like impacting people in person that way. But I mean, my goal is to kind of go through all of my forms of art and become very good at, and hopefully, you know, respected for at different points in my life, different aspects. Like I'll probably rap for a reasonable amount of my time, if not like my whole life, but eventually I want to become known for more than that. I want to become known, you know, for, you know, pushing fashion forward, and for also like, I'm inspired a lot by like Dali and Picasso and shit. So I eventually want to become respected for my visual art and like push that forward and do something that hasn't been done more than I already am.
Right, right. Okay. Well, you go into that more. Like, who are your like inspirations? I think that's interesting. I think a lot of people want to know.
I'm inspired by the likes of, again, like I said, like Dali and Picasso, because like for their time, like a lot of people look at that and they're like, oh, that's just like some drug shit. Like that's like cool. But like for their time, like what they were doing was so just like criticized and like crazy and weird. And like they had to like, if they didn't exist, like art wouldn't be where it is right now. And that's kind of like what I'm trying to do. Like I'm not even necessarily making art for like us, you know, people of this generation. Like my goal is to impact like our kids and like our kids' kids and shit, and like they'll understand what I'm saying. I feel like even more than people in this generation will, because I feel like you know, people in this generation, I feel like will resonate with. I'm blessed enough to have the internet and shit, but it's more for like, again, like adults, kids, and like their kids and stuff, like future generations will understand. Because a lot of people that are alive right now are like stuck into these patterns that are real hard to break. So like when my art gets new listeners and young listeners, I feel like it'll help impact the world and culture in like a more poignant way, because they haven't really been indoctrinated yet. And then I can express to them, you know, I believe that race is fake. I think that this stuff is just pointless. And then like it'll have more of an impact than like me going and telling some 40-year-old man like, oh, I think race is fake. I think everyone should say the N-word because words are just sounds and like shit's like dumb and like it doesn't matter. People don't understand that, you know, and niggas won't understand that, and like everybody won't understand that. Right. And I get that. Nobody will ever like all agree about anything. But I'm still gonna do it because I don't really give a fuck. Like I really could care less what everyone thinks.
I noticed that. I noticed you carry a lot of that in your music. Like you, for me, like I haven't heard all of your stuff. I need to delve more into you, especially after this interview. But I know you do a lot of parody. Now, I wouldn't call it parody music, but you, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you make music for reactions sometimes, and a lot of things you do is, if that's true, you do it for reactions, and you try to. You know, it's like different, and it's to get people talking, but like you said, at the same time, you don't care.
I make my music. I don't make my music to get people talking. I understand. Like I'm not an idiot. Like I understand that that's a byproduct of what I'm doing. But nothing that I say in my music, like Holocaust or any of that, like we didn't make that song with the intention of anybody even like listening to it. Like Wendigo and I were just like, let's just make some like dope. And then he made that ridiculous beat, and I was like, what can I say that's fun? And like, yeah, everyone makes music for people to listen to it, but at the end of the day, and first, I make music because I like making music, and because it's an expression of my pain. Like music really helps me like not be fucked up. Making Holocaust or like, and making some dumbass offensive song that I enjoy. And then like also making, you know, songs in some of my music, like I will use racial slurs that people are offended by, but that's because I have been called them in my life. You know, like I've used the term sand nigger in my music or doon coon because like people have called me shit like that. They've called me spear chucker. Like I grew up in Elk Grove, California, and I'm not like the victim of racism like all the time. But I have experienced that in my life, and it has had an effect on my soul, and like it has caused me pain in order to not feel depressed and not feel isolated and not feel. I kind of instinctually just like keep pushing. I'm just like, I don't care that like I'm like an alien person to you. I don't care that you call me that. Like it's just a word. Like I'm trying to move to a place where like somebody could say that to you and you wouldn't be offended. You know, it wouldn't carry that meaning. Like I'm trying to break down the things that cause my pain and cause my sadness that lives within me while I express that, you know.
Exactly. Especially in this, I'll be honest, this sensitive society that we're living in, especially our youth. Well, how do you address the controversy? Like, do people say anything, and how do you like address it?
Surprisingly, not very many people say. So many people are just like, at least right now, I'm at the size where like anyone who is offended doesn't feel like they can take me down. Like I have enough of a following and I'm big enough and people will fuck with me regardless of who thinks I'm offensive. That like one person saying like, oh, is he doing blackface, or why is he saying nigga if he doesn't look black? Like, people don't understand it's a lot more complicated than that. Like, I'm not doing blackface because I'm not pretending to be black. Like, my character isn't a black person. It's a black person, but it's not like what you would call a black person, even though like I don't even think but like I don't even think that like black people should be called black. I don't think white people should be called in generalization about that type of shit. So like what I would say to anybody who does happen to have a problem is I say to them, like, if you look at my character and you think that that looks like a black person, like you are probably the racist. Like, it's not only just pointing the finger right back at people who claim to be like on the side of good and on the side of like what they think is right, because they're just as racist as everyone else. Like, for you to say, like, say I say nigga and you're like, oh, are you black? Can you say nigga? Then I'm over here like, bro, like, I'm not telling you what words to say based on what you look like. Like, don't tell me what I can say based on what I look like. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as we're trying to control other people based on how they look, we serve to separate ourselves. But what I believe is that all people are just infinite beings stuck in the bodies that we happen to be given. And it doesn't matter like what color that body is or like what genetics you have. I feel like all of us, like all men are created equal. I genuinely believe. And so I don't think that any of that shit matters. And no matter how many people tell me when I get more popular that like they don't like that I say that I'm doing blackface, like I don't care. I'm gonna keep doing it because I know that I give people strength, and I know that I give marginalized and people that feel alone, I give them strength. And so I don't really give a fuck about the accepted ass person being like, oh, like I don't think Asian people should say the N-word. I don't think black people like should let people say these words. Like, it's like you give that word strength. You refuse to allow that wound to heal. And then it just creates hate. Like, hate just like keeps going, even though like nobody in our generation was involved in any shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just ridiculous. And I feel like the whole point of my music is to just go against people like that and make them mad. Like, be mad. Like, keep paying attention to me. Keep talking about me. Like, keep being angry. Because eventually, my message, I feel like, will get through to people.
That's dope. That's dope. In this scene, like, a lot of the music isn't really like you. It's one thing. I'm not trying to like hype your head up or anything, but this is something I do love that you do. Is like we're talking about. You're very message based, very philosophical instead of like the same old "I'll take your bitch," you know, shoot a nigga in the head. You know, it's you have a message to it, and I don't think there's.
Don't come in. For sure, I'm doing an interview right now, so I need, you know, it's all right. It's housekeeping just came in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah. So. I like that it's very philosophical. Is that, like, do you notice that? Like, do you stand out and have you, like, refused songs or just anything? Like, how does that affect you being such a controversial?
I've refused songs on a philosophical basis. Like some people have hit me up and been like, hey, hop on my, like, Antifa song, or, like, hop on my, like, my this song. And it's like, I don't want to align myself with things that I see as, like, perpetuating hate or shit like that. Like, I don't want to hop on certain things because I feel like it just goes against like my message or stuff like that. But like that very rarely happens because like I'm not a very person anymore like I used to be, but now I'm not. Like I learned that was not the way, and that I allowed myself to be hurt by things because it was my decision. Like when somebody called, again, like I'm just gonna say it again, like when I was little and like someone would call me like a spear chucker or something, like I'd get hurt, but then I realized like my pain and my reaction gives that word strength. If somebody calls me that and I don't care, like, then what are they going to do? Like, it's just a word. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, I try to like spread my message, but it's also like my message comes inherently, you know, like not a lot of these things are just like subconscious. They're just like things that I do because I'm like, I don't really like, I'm not out here being like trying to force anything. Like, this is just how I am, and I'm gonna express myself the way I like to. And if you don't fuck with it, then like fuck off. And like if you like it, then like you like it, and I'm glad. And I want everyone, even the people that don't fuck with me and don't think that I should do what I'm doing, like I still want you to live a good life. Like I don't want you to like it's not me versus them. Like we're all in this together, whether you agree with me or not. You know what I'm saying? Whether you can see why I'm doing what I'm doing or not. You know, I understand why people would be ignorant to what I'm doing, because I would at points in my life, if I had seen what I'm doing right now, would be like, oh, that's so offensive, that's so fucked up. But
gotta give people time to wake up to stuff like that. I understand.
Exactly, man. Yeah, there's no point in forcing it.
Dope. That's true. So I'm guessing this probably, you get this a lot, but I'm pretty sure it's a little more simpler now after what you said. But obvious question that I'm pretty sure you were getting. How did you come up with the name Lil Darkie?
Like it's kind of like a couple. It's like a 2 or 3 step like process that led to me like developing that name. So like before this, I had like a different rap name that I went by that I don't associate with anymore. Like I almost treat it like it's a different rapper now. But I used to go by Brahman, and my character used to be Blue, and I used to kind of like want to like represent like my Indian gods. But then I learned that like the representation of them as blue isn't initially like how they're supposed to be. And I learned that like the Indian gods are represented as black, like they are colored black. And so like I kind of just am taking my culture and putting it in front of people and being like, you mad about my culture? Like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I look at, and I see that as empowering. You know what I'm saying? So like,
that's cool.
That's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of like what I chose to do with it.
That's interesting. Because you said Brahma, I'm like, isn't that like the Hindu god, like main god? And he was like, okay, it clicked.
Yeah, he's one. It means like it is one of the main gods, but it also represents just an idea of like ultimate presence. So like now that you understand that, basically the way I transitioned to Darkie was I realized that the gods were supposed to be black, and so I was like, I'm gonna make my character like that, and I'm gonna start representing like a more balance, because like my understanding of what the Indian gods were like and what life is like was like out of balance. Like I was expressing myself super overtly positively in all my music and all this, but then I was really dark inside, and I realized that like I needed to express what was welling up inside of me and put it outside of me to like be happy as a person. And so like Darkie basically was birthed as like a way for me to like take something that like has made people that, I mean, I don't identify as Indian, but has made, you know, that's what like basically I'm teetering this line where like in this world it's like I understand I have to do things a certain way up to a point so that people will get it, but I have to like push the boundary as far as I can without like being too extreme. You know what I'm saying? So like,
right. I like that.
I basically chose Darkie. That term was used to put my people down, and so like my mother's people. And so I basically adopted that word and chose to make it something beautiful, because I was very inspired by Kanye trying to like take the Confederate flag back and shit like that. And so like I basically said, you know, like, well, if black people gonna be, you know, not allowing me to say nigga or to, well, whatever, like, you know, or white people gonna be offended by like whatever bullshit, you know, I was like, well, fine, then I'm just gonna like own this slur. Like, I'm Darkie. If you want to address me, you have to say the racial slur. Like, if you want to talk to me, you have to say that. Like, that's something that I see as beautiful, that I don't think is offensive. And I've heard it so much now that like we'll be walking around in public and some people from Spider Gang will be like, hey, Darkie, come look at this. People will look at us funny. And it's like, because they don't understand. But when I hear that, that's just my name. And so like I'm a walking example that like words aren't what they seem to be. You know what I'm saying?
Just frequency. I like that. That's super anti-programming. I love that idea. Okay, I don't want to nerd out or anything, but I'm really into philosophy and stuff, so I think that's really cool, man.
No, I understand. Thank you.
No problem. Oh, are you? I don't want to make this like a personal question, but are you Hindu? I don't know if that was like too personal.
I don't identify super strictly with like one thing. Like I think I take lots of inspiration from lots of different faiths. I've been Christian in my life. I've been Hindu. I know lots of values from like many different religions, but I'd say that I identify like most at this moment with like a lot of like Hindu philosophy, because it's very pagan, it's very human, it's very like unfiltered by like what people think is safe and what people think is like okay. It's like it's very like raw and in your face when you go and you look at a lot of the old teachings and shit.
Have you read the Vedic texts and things like that?
I researched the Vedic text. Obviously, you know, like it's different. Like reading the Vedic text is different than reading the Bible. Yeah. It's like a completely like it's like 10 times more reading and translating and trying to understand some shit. But like it definitely has influenced me in my life. A lot of the myths and the stories of my gods and shit. Like I take inspiration from heroes like Krishna, agents of both chaos and order. Like they would come and they would do things that people don't understand, but that's because they understand that it's for a greater good. And that's kind of what I identify with. I think that I'm doing something that people might not understand, but that's because I see it as for the greater good. And it doesn't matter to me how many people disagree. Or in the Mahabharata, where Krishna is literally on one side of a war, and there's an entire like nation of people that want to like kill him and everyone that he's on the side of, but he's God. So it's like, why does it matter that all these people want to come at me? I know that what I'm doing is right. And so like, I don't care if like Twitter tries to cancel me or whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck, because like the people that love me aren't going to stop loving me because of that, because they already love me. And like more people will continue to keep supporting me regardless. And that's the benefit almost of being somebody who's offensive or unsafe, because somebody who's trying to play it safe can be canceled, or because like their fans are people that want it to be safe. But like my fans aren't those people. My fans are people that don't give a fuck about what everyone else thinks. So like that's why I appreciate what I've built and what I'm going to continue to build.
That's dope, man. I love that, man. So what's a good question? I don't want to like jump too far off of like the philosophical standpoint, but it's something I want to ask before I forget.
Ask me anything, bro. I do not give a fuck.
Okay, dope. So recently, I haven't looked into much of it, so that's why this is interesting to me too. It's something I want to know. Well, you recently had a song with Keith Ape.
Hell yeah! So shout out Beef Bay.
How did that go? Like, what? How did that go about? Because that was like pretty big.
Yeah, Keith basically had been taking some inspiration from Wendigo and A14 and he had hit up Wendigo and A14. To like do some work while they were at my house. Like we were all together when this happened. And he just DM'd A14 and then he DM'd Wendigo after. And then he ended up DMing me like the next day. And then we all ended up making that first song. And it was like, it's just kind of history from there. Like Keith is just like a very real person. And he's involved with 88 Rising as a label, but I feel like out of all the people on 88 Rising, he's like the least safe. Besides like Rich Chigga or like Rich Brian or whatever, but like he went the opposite way that like I did. Like Rich Chigga like gave in and was like, yeah, like, oh, that's offensive to you. I'm gonna like change it. And like I understand like that's his place to make that decision. Mm-hmm. But like Keith sees what I'm doing and is very inspired by it and appreciates what I'm doing, and I appreciate him and am inspired by him and have been since like high school. So it's just like we're just like friends. And so like we just text each other and like we're cool. We're gonna like hopefully do a tour soon, so that should be cool. It's gonna be fun.
Yo, come to DC, please. Me and Chris gotta.
Hell yeah. We actually gonna be Spider Gang's planning a tour. We're trying to come to the DMV, so that's near, I think.
Yes, because Black is here. That's probably why. That's a
beautiful. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's my homie. Shout out Black. But yeah, man, I gotta pull up. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that to see all you guys. That's dope.
Oh yeah.
That's dope. So you also produce beats, right?
I do. I'm gonna start selling them soon. I haven't gotten good enough at them or fast enough at them to want to like give them away like that. But I'm gonna start posting them on YouTube and selling them soon. So I hope to like also become a producer in that way.
That's dope. Did a lot of your style, like you said, you were a fan of Keith Ape. Did he influence your producing a little bit, or?
I feel like I maybe in the past, but I feel like I'm not really directly influenced by anyone anymore. Like I kind of feel like come into my own more as an artist, and I'll just continue to keep coming into my own more and being more and more unique. And I feel like I take inspiration from the people around me in terms of, not necessarily in terms of like, oh, like I'm gonna do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I see like when I see Picasso painting, I'm inspired by his energy and his like way of expressing himself that way. And I'm not really like, oh, I see that and I want to do that. Like I see that and I want to express myself more uniquely in my own way more. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It teaches you how instead of what to create. Teaches you.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. So how did Spider Gang come about? Are you the creator of it?
No, a lot of people think that just because like I'm like what you consider by numbers like the largest member or whatever.
Right.
But like I'm not the creator of Spider Gang. There actually is no creator of Spider Gang. If anyone in Spider Gang is to be considered one of the founding fathers of Spider Gang, it would be Wendigo. But really, it was 3 niggas who came up with the concept of the Spider Way, and it was essentially just like 3 college niggas on acid that like were just like, man, we feel like we're like spiders and like we're in the web right now. Up into philosophy is now based around just kind of like sitting in the web and like allowing things to come to you and like not having to go out of your way for anything because your energy pulls it in. And so that's kind of like what the concept of Spider Gang is. And so Wendigo had that experience with them and then kind of like went on with his life. And then those 2 other guys, you know, they're just doing their own thing. And then Wendigo had already known Brahman God and Half Metal Kai, had met me just kind of like through the internet. Like he just hit me up and like I hopped on one of his beats and we made the song Big Wave. And like essentially from that point forward, we kind of like informally, I don't even remember really started it, but we just decided to like make Spider Gang. And I'm pretty sure it was like me, Brahman, Wendy, and Salsa. And then like we just added members from there slowly as we like felt like we wanted to.
That's dope. That's dope. How did you guys come up with like the cartoon concept?
So like that was just kind of like me just like drawing shit. Like I just kind of like I do all the drawings for everybody. So like I kind of just came up with everyone's characters and like and modify them over time and shit. And that's just kind of like my contribution to it is I like kind of just brand it because like I think I'm good at it and they think I'm good at it and we're just kind of cool with it. So I brand a lot of our stuff and my stuff because I just enjoy it. I also just enjoy like putting a unique spin and energy on the people around me because I feel like the people that have allowed me to do like cartoons for them more in Spider Gang have definitely seen a different kind of response just because people like it's a standout art style and people kind of just see it and they're like, oh, that's dope. Like that's really like not being done.
Yeah, most def. So like individually you just like saw each, like you have like each artist in the group and you just like sketched it like, hey, this is A14. This is Wendigo. Like you just did stuff.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. And like all the people that are in Spider Gang, it's not really because like, oh, we're all like, oh, we think we're all gonna like become like the best artists ever and like defeat everyone. Like it's not like some like weird. It's just because like we're just like niggas that really like love each other. Like that's it. Like we just like really like everybody in Spider Gang, like we just like resonate with their energy and can trust that everyone's like 100% real. And that's pretty much like why we have it. It's just so that we can surround ourselves in the nucleus of like pop. It just kind of like is a nice like place where we can go where if we're ever feeling like the scene is making us depressed or shit stupid, then like we can always go back to Spider Gang and we got all the spiders there, you know.
I love that. That's dope. So is anyone, so for all the fans and aspiring artists, especially people inspired by you, is Spider Gang still open to accepting new members, or just for them?
It's basically like what I'll say is that nobody who is in Spider Gang ever asked to be in Spider. Nobody who's in Spider Gang even wanted to be in Spider Gang because it's a thing that we just make, you know? And so like, it's kind of like, yeah, you want to be in Spider Gang. Like when I was coming up and I was inspired by Odd Future, I wanted to be in Odd Future, but Odd Future probably doesn't want me in Odd Future because I'm not them. Like they made that for them. And so like, it's kind of like, we're down to like be affiliated with and like collab with numerous people, but like we're not in the business of just being like, yeah, let's like add people to Spider Gang. Like we have to have a real relationship with people for like a period of time before like we even consider being like, yeah, like come and join us if you want.
Oh, that is true. That's true. That's true. Um, so when you were coming up, who did you want to collab with? Like, who were some of your like dream collab artists in getting in music? Even now, it ain't even just coming up.
I think like I want to collab with like people that aren't even like rappers. Like I want to do shit that's like timeless art. Like I don't want to like collab with like, oh, I want to get like no shade to any of these people. They're all super great people, but I never came up and was like, I want to collab with Chief Keef or I want to collab with Jay-Z or another rap. I've always been like, yeah, I want to collab with like Quentin Tarantino or like I want to collab with like somebody like visual artists or like people that can like do crazy shit that will like enhance the art that I already know how to make. Like I don't like I mean I'll collab with anybody. It's fun. Like it's this is human shit. Like none of this is gonna matter like in like a million years when like this is all over and like humanity probably gone and shit. Like none of this will be remembered or matter. So it doesn't really matter to me. Like I will do whatever. But at the end of the day, like I want to do shit that will enhance the lives of the people that are gonna see my art. And so I want to like collab with people that are like that's really just gonna make it some like otherworldly shit, like some art that you've never seen, some shit that's like alien almost. Like that's what I want to like bring to the table. So Quentin Tarantino or like Jack Stauber, who's like a YouTuber who makes his own music and then he like animates it and stuff with like clay and stuff. So I want to like collab with mad different like kinds of artists and shit if they're down, you know?
Right. That's dope. That's dope. So that's an interesting response for that question. That's the first time I got that. What's your view on? Like I said earlier, that's why I didn't want to say parody music, but you do have a lot of humor in your music. What's your view on humor? Like,
Sure. I do parody shit occasionally.
mm,
Like in my music, like some of my shit is there to like it wouldn't have the effect that it has if I didn't do some of the things that I did. Like on my new song, Death Squad, where like there's a part of it where like at the beginning of Crimson's beat, where I'm like, it's just kind of like old like 2000s rap and shit like that, or like there is an element of parody to my music because it is meant to take something that you know sometimes and then make it unfamiliar. And then also in that way to like draw you into then accept some of the unfamiliar ideas that I present. And so like my view on humor is that like I think humor and making people laugh and making people chuckle is like a good way of like lightening shit up. Like the fact that people can listen to Holocaust and like some people like hear Holocaust and like get offended so much so that they'll like walk out of my show or like be mad or like hate on their friends for being fans of me. But then like also like I make mad people laugh. Like a Jew produced Holocaust. Like when we first made Holocaust, like we were like just laughing at it. It was a hilarious time. And I think that like humor is a good way of like it's healing. Like humor is healing. Like you can if someone's hurting about something to like laugh about it is healing. Like I understand it's also like it can be avoidance, but like most of the time I try to be very direct and honest in everything that I say, even though like rap cap is like has been present since the beginning of rap. Like everyone wants to act like rap is like, oh, like I'm 100%, like I'm always 100% rapping about my situation. But like every rapper has cap. There is not a single rapper. I'm willing to say that there's not a single rapper that has like 100% of the time everything that they rap is 100% true. There's no, that's not possible. Like that's not true. And so like I denounce that notion and think it's retarded. Like I think that like and a way for us to like for me to take your brain and then like put you in a different place and then maybe in that place you can understand what I'm saying. Whereas if I'm just here talking to you being like, I think race is fake and I think that like this, and then you might just be like, okay, bro, like yo, but then like if I'm rapping about it, it's much more powerful and you can feel my emotion behind it and you can almost understand some of the reasons why I might be saying what I'm, and I think it's a much more poignant way of like delivering a message that I want to deliver.
Right. That's dope. So well, how would you define the majority of the genre that I know you do all types of music styles, but what would you define the majority? Because I know you don't want to go by. I'm pretty sure you hate that term that I'm gonna probably want to say.
Yeah, like genre.
Yeah, the genre term.
I mean,
trap metal.
I think that like hip hop and rap and like all of that shit is just like one element of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I incorporate a lot of metal elements, or like just and like a lot of like even like R&B elements into some of the songs I'd be making, and just elements from all music. Like I grew up, I started listening to like the first type of music I listened to was reggae, like Bob Marley. Like he taught me that like race isn't real, and that like love is what really matters at the end of the day, and that all people are the same people. And like I kind of like really resonated with that. And so like in terms of my genre and my statement on like the scene genre, like I don't really think that I have a genre. I think if you want to call what I'm doing anything, you should just like call it like music or art, or like alternative rap music, or just like experimental rap music. Like I'm experimenting with shit that other people won't, because like also like I'm not rapping with the intention of like doing anything specific at any point. Like anytime that I'm rapping, like one song might be me rapping about my experience very honestly, and then one song might be me telling you to like run because the aliens are coming, and then like one song might be me being like, I'm like really fucked up about this thing and I'm gonna talk about it. And like it's just like what the, like I'm not a person that fits into a genre. I'm a multifaceted artist. Like I don't see what I do as like me making a bunch of the same type of shit. I see what I'm doing as like everything that I make is a painting and stands on its own. And you can like but there will that
Okay.
What's up?
No, sorry, the audio was breaking up a little bit.
For sure. Do you think like you want me to like turn off my camera or something? Would that make it better?
I don't think. If you want, it's up to you. I think it's fine, but it's up to you. If you think it'll help.
For sure. Yeah, you let me know if it gets too fucked up or something.
Okay, I got you. But yeah.
But like, yeah, that's like kind of my view on it. Is like it's just kind of, I just see myself as like an artist. Like I don't really think like the genre is something that the artists very rarely ever make up. Like that's made up by people that aren't making the art. So like, I'm not really even here to like tell you what it is. Like people will decide what it is.
Yeah, that's true. Man, I really like that. Last thing on that about the genre thing. Would you? Because I was looking into this a lot, and I've talked to a few people about it, and I think this would cater to you. Now, obviously not everything, but would you define a lot of your stuff as punk? Because how punk has that rebellious nature to it. Like, would you say it's kind of punk in some aspect?
I'm not here to suck my own, but and I don't think it's bragging to say that you're punk. I think to say that, to like imply that punk is cool is like, but like, yeah, I think that like what I'm doing, like if you were to call it something, like punk would be the most accurate term, because it's like I am going against a lot of what people think should even happen. Like I'm just doing some shit that nobody, like before I came along, like people were just like never expecting that.
Exactly.
I feel like more so than anybody in the scene that is a rapper, at least, because producing is an entirely different thing. You could say that like Wendigo is the most punk producer and shit. Yeah. But I'd say out of rappers, if we're just talking about rappers and artists in general, I'd say, and vocalists, yeah, and even just artists in general, I think I'm one of the most punk people doing music right now, because I'm doing something that hasn't been done, and I'm just on that shit. I'm just trying to like do something that hasn't seen the light of day yet. I'm trying to invent something, because if I was doing something that like had already been done in the past, it wouldn't be punk. You know what I'm saying?
Right. True. That's true.
So that's my perspective on punk, and like calling me punk. Like I think I don't try to be punk, but I think what I'm doing could be described as like.
I like that, because also the screaming stuff. That's why I was just like, yeah, it's kind of punk, but yeah. That's still is cool. What are some styles that you haven't done yet that you are really like interested in doing? Like that you really.
I want to really expand more into like boom bap rap more, because I did that shit a lot more before I was like Darkie. But now that I'm Darkie and I feel like much better at my music, I want go into that world of music more and like really experiment with like the storytelling aspect of it, and just like, also I feel like it's more timeless. Like trap music has its place and it will live forever just like everything else, but like not forever, but you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But like I do feel like boom bap music is it serves its purpose, and it's inspiring in a different way and carries different energies, and I really want to just experiment with that, but not to do like music that's been done, just to use that format to like experiment and branch out and do new things, you know, because I feel like I've definitely done like every kind of fucking, like not every kind, but I've done a fuck ton of different kinds of trap songs, but like I've dabbled in the boom bap and I feel like I've done very well, but some of those songs are some of people's favorite songs for me, so I want to go into that and expand on that more.
Interesting. I think that'd be fun. That'd be pretty fun to hear. What's some of your favorite songs that you've done? Or your favorite, your number one favorite, you would say, that's out?
Some of my favorite songs for myself, I like "You're the Cap" because it's very much just like, it's very just like anti everything. Like I made that song just to kind of imply like everyone's capping, like everyone's lying. Like there's not a single person out here that's not doing that shit. And like specifically this year, it's like a year of people like lying and then being like, I'm the least cap ever. And it's like, nah, you're like so cap. Like everyone's so cap. And so like that song was me being like brutally honest in the face of everyone else, like capping all the time. Like that was like my song to do that in. And it's just like, I feel like a statement about like just the state of like our generation and people and shit.
Okay. What is there a song that you've made, at least like that you, I don't want to say least, oh yeah, I guess your least favorite, even though it's not always bad, but like do you have anything out that's like your least favorite or least enjoyable?
I will say also, just like on a separate note, just to like a second song that's one of my favorites is Big War. It's just fucking stupid ridiculous. Like that's just one of my like favorite things to listen to in general, because it's just like so weird, but it slaps somehow. So it's like kind of like, it's just funny. It's like you never thought something about that would slap, but it kind of slaps. And then like in terms of like least favorite, I mean like, I feel like my first project that I released that I have like public, I mean it's that project, like the first project on my SoundCloud right now, Kill Yourself, is like my 15th project. But like it's the first Darkie project, and it's like my least favorite to listen to.
Okay.
But like that's because like I would just like, I'm gonna remaster it and re-release it at some point, and like just it will no longer be my least favorite. I don't really like dislike any of my music, because even if it's like bad or whatever, or like if it sounds rough or whatever, it has its place. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, like even like Odd Future's old shit that you think is like it's bad, but it's like it's good though, because it's like it's just people creating. Like it's not good or bad. Like it's just a thing. Like it's just a thing that you like or you.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Oh, in your live today, you invented a new language. You came up with
Yes.
No, I'm not gonna make that a question. I was just trying to.
Yeah, you can make that a question if you want.
Okay, how'd you come up with a new language? Let's do it. Let's do it. That's so weird. That's so weird. It's so weird. I can't. It's like it sounds like every animal and none at the same time. I hear a
like
bird, a monkey.
there is a trick to how I'm doing that, but I'm not gonna talk about it. Like it's easy to figure out like how I'm doing that, but I'm not gonna like reveal it, because it's kind of magical. So like.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. I hope are you actually gonna make a song with that? I really hope I hear that.
I'll make a song with those sounds in it and shit.
I need to hear that. All right.
Or like where I'm like or like I invent a character where I'm like talking to him and he's like speaking in like Darkie language.
That would be fire. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
It should be funny.
You made a hit.
Oh yeah.
That's dope. Shoot, let me think. So more about, I guess, I think your fans want to know more about you. Like, what's some things you enjoy doing when you're not making music or art? Like, what's some things you just enjoy?
I like bodies of water.
Hmm.
Like I like things that involve water a lot. Like I like snorkeling or swimming or even like just bathing. Like I just really enjoy like taking like a nice bath or like just relaxing and like because I'm made of water. So like I'm just like really attracted to like water. So like I like things that like activities and recreations that water, they're like really relaxing to me. I like when I'm like not doing like music that like is for like release. I like just like making art because I feel like one thing that like happens is like art that's unrelated. Because I feel like one thing that happens is like artists start only doing the thing that's like succeeding. You know, like they start like only doing like the thing that people like, and so then it's like they start like getting a box of creativity where they're like, I can only do shit like this. And so like I very regularly like try to like just do little things here and there, like little pieces of art, like, oh, I'm gonna like make a patch and like sew a hat, or I'm gonna like draw something just to draw something, like because it's like you get like depressed like just doing the same shit over and over. So like I really just like keep my inspiration going and keep my artistic ability going by like just like always relaxing and like doing some art that's like not related to anything or not for anyone, like some shit that's like back in the day I used to just draw because I just love to draw, and now like sometimes I find like fuck, like I'm doing another like character drawing someone paid for and like it's tight, but it's like I like the commissions where people like let me have some creativity or let me like design their character for them and shit instead of like giving me a bunch of instructions, because it's like I like to just generate shit. So like that's like something I do in my spare time. And like the last thing I'd say, like I just like hanging out with good people and like just in just like kind of being social where I wasn't in the past. Like I enjoy being social with people. So like I like going out and like hanging out with my friends or having people over, or, like having good conversation. That's the type of shit I like.
That's dope. That's dope. What's it like hanging out with some of the Spider Gang peeps like Bruh Main and Wendigo and like what's
Once like I mean, as individuals, it's like hella fun, but like when we're all together, it's like fucking chaos. Like it's like incredible. Like it's the best shit because like we all just don't care, and like none of us, all of us, are completely aware of each other's intent. Like I could have Tourette's and like say the most fucked up like terrible shit, and like they all know who I actually am. Like there's no disconnect. Like there's no emotional disconnect. Like I feel like we all respect and love each other enough to like we could get in like the worst argument ever, but like we'll be cool. You know what I'm saying? Because like we love each other and we know that like we're a constant reminder to each other like that this shit is just temporary and like we just like are here to like enjoy each other while we're here. Man. So it's kind of like hanging out with the other members of Spider Gang is just like some of the most visceral moments in my life have been with those pieces of shit. Like I fuck with them so heavily. Like they're so great.
I cannot wait for you guys to come to the DMV, man. That made me excited. I cannot wait to see all you guys in one room, but that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, let me think. You got like a favorite food or anything? Well, what are you drinking? Let me, because it's right there. Or should I ask?
Don't sue me.
I won't sue you.
Yeah, I'm just like I don't drink a lot because I don't like getting very drunk. I did for like half a second, and then like now I don't. But I just kind of like the drugs that I partake in are just like mainly just like plant drugs. Like I don't really do like coke or Xans or lean or like the only like opiate like drug that I've ever like really like enjoyed was like I did like a Quaalude. But like that's because like Quaaludes is dope. And, like they're like banned, like they're not like a drug that you can do anymore. But like I did a Quaalude and I was like, I can see why they're banned because that shit. But like I just kind of like I just partake in like just normal drugs. Like I like psychedelics, but I don't really overdo them. People overdo them. I haven't done psychedelics in mad long, but like I resonate with them heavily. So if I ever feel like I need healing, I'll do like some shrooms or. And I use it as more of a medicine than a drug. But like I mainly just like smoke. I'm trying to like get off tobacco because it's bad for me. So like that's kind of just like what's good with that.
That's dope. That's dope. What's your favorite food? What is Darky always snacking on?
My favorite like snack is popcorn because it's just like lit. But my favorite food is like a tie between like pho as a hot like Vietnamese noodle
I
soup.
know what pho is. I never had it. But I know what it is.
If you're ever in LA, I'm gonna take you. But then like there's pho as a hot food, but then as like a cold food, it's like sushi. I fuck with sushi so
Why
hard
is everyone? Wendigo said the same thing. Everyone
because
loves
it's
sushi,
like
man.
because it's like you get like a little piece of tuna and then like you put it in your mouth and it's like you can really just like appreciate the nuances of that like animal. It's like damn, like I can taste like the ocean and like the fat and like it's just such a nuanced flavor. It's so like fresh and just like you shouldn't eat it a lot because there's like risks of like you can get mercury poisoning or like parasites because it is raw food. If you're getting fresh like tuna and shit and like good like shit, sushi's like fucking great because like I just also really fuck with like Japanese shit. Like I've always been into anime and Japanese animation and like Japanese culture. And like I learned to speak Japanese when I was younger. I don't really know that shit like that much anymore, but like I've just always been a fan of Japanese culture. It's always fascinated me and my mom. So like, I fuck with sushi really heavily.
Dope, dope, dope. What were some of your favorite animes coming up?
Like if we're talking favorite, like I fuck with so many like regular animes, but like my favorites are like Studio Ghibli ones. Like the ones that are just like they're like paintings. Like they're like Spirited Away and like Howl's Moving Castle and like just all those like movie ones that are like made by Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki specifically. Like those are my favorite animes because like they're like again, they're just like they're moving paintings. It's just so incredible that people like hand drew and hand painted all that shit. Like in terms of like regular anime, I'm gonna call it regular anime. Don't be offended. My shit's like I fuck with like Hunter x Hunter and like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood's like one of my favorite, and like Gurren Lagann is a great anime, and like it's like man, I just like a lot. It's like a lot of good shit, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's just a solid ass like storytelling tool.
Can we get a Spider Gang anime? I don't even watch anime, but I want to see a Spider
Oh,
Gang.
bro, I eventually like I don't even want to like tell this idea. It's such a good idea. I don't even want to tell it. But
My bad.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you about it after like the interview's done.
Okay,
I'll like
man.
write it down so I don't forget.
My bad. I didn't know you. Oof. I just thought. Okay. Um. You played
But
any
like you know,
yeah. I definitely I know what you're talking about. But yeah, but you play any video games or anything?
yes, I enjoy Minecraft. It is my favorite game because it's just like even if it gets boring or like you don't like I feel like I could like be 30 and still enjoy Minecraft. Like I could be like 70 and still enjoy Minecraft because it's just like human simulator. It's just like you're just a person. It's like, oh, I want to go like fish. I want to go like plant some flowers or like build a house or like kill some shit. Like it's just like there's violence and peace in the same game. And I feel like I like games that are like that. Like that's why I like Zelda because I like games that represent the duality. Like of course I like games that are like hella dark and shit. Like Hotline Miami is one of my favorite games, and like Skyrim's one of my favorite games. But like I think my favorite games are games that like are well balanced, like Zelda, where it's like it's beautiful and picturesque, but then there's also like and then it's like Minecraft, where it's like oh, it's like just fucking like it's sunny and there's like fucking animals and shit and it's nice, but then it's like also you can like go to hell or like go to the end and like do crazy shit and like there's violence and like death and like the stakes are actually very real. But then it's if you want you can just like make stained glass. Like it's just like one of the most like do whatever you fucking want games. And so I enjoy shit like that.
Me too. I can agree. I love games with more freedom. However, I will say I agree with that. But my favorite game of all time is Metal Gear. I don't know. I don't know why I love
Metal Gear.
that game so much. But
That's a good ass game.
yeah, Yes, I can't get
I
enough
respect
of
that
it.
opinion.
That's
You know the
good.
game Fez?
Fez. That sounds so familiar.
It's the one about like this little, like it's one of my favorite games because it's so creative. You know, like 2D platformers. They're
Yeah.
like there's like it's like the game where like you're a little guy and you have this little hat that makes it so you can like turn the world like a cube. So there's like you can like turn it around, and so like there's two platforms right that are like here, like they look like they're like, but then you turn the world and like they're like right next to each other.
Oh,
So like it's very like crazy and like about like spatial awareness and like how the world isn't what you think it is just by looking at it at first, and so it's like really crazy.
I love that. Fez. I need to check that out. How you spell it?
Yeah, FEZ.
Is it just Fez? Okay, I'm gonna look
Yeah,
it
if
up.
you got it on Steam, like I guarantee you'll like get obsessed with it. It's so good.
Because when you described it, I thought of like Limbo, but then I'm like, nah, Limbo doesn't. You don't turn in Limbo, so I was like, I don't know what.
No, it's like it's a crazy ass.
Man, all right, I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that.
Oh yeah,
And I'm a cop Death Stranding too. I don't know if you know about that, but I'm a cop that.
I do know about that.
That looks cool.
It's a fire ass game. Do you like Dead Island,
I haven't played it, but I know what it is. I know that.
bro? Like that's like I like games because it's just kind of like zombie Skyrim type shit. Like it's just like I like games where it's like a first person shooter, but like you can do other shit than just have guns. Like I like Call of Duty and Field, but like they're not my favorite games because like I like games where it's like, oh, there's guns and oh, you can pick up like a fucking like a pool stick and like bash a zombie over the head with it, or like you can pick up
I remember
like
that. Yeah. Like
there's like mad different shit.
You like Far Cry? That's like one of my favorites too.
Yes, yeah. Far Cry is one of my favorite games because it's just like I love the combination of a first person shooter, but then like almost like parkour elements. Like I love that shit.
That's dope. I love that too.
I love being so mobile where like you can just like run and jump and then like press A again. You're just like on something, and it's just like so much more. Like in Call of Duty, you just like run and jump and do some shit and you like hit the wall. Like it's so much more human. You know, it's like damn, like I can like do much more. Like my movements feel more natural and shit.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's true. That's true. I like that. And we got you play PS4 or Xbox or like PC?
I play mainly just like my Mac, like my like PC shit, but like not PC, but like computer shit. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy Xbox and PS4. I just don't like own them because it's like I'd like if you gave me like the money to buy a console, I would go and buy like art shit. Like I wouldn't go and like buy an Xbox because like that's just like what I'm passionate about. Mm-hmm. I also like out of like PlayStation shit, like I like PSVR. Like that's one of my favorite things. Like if I were to go buy something, I'd go buy VR games because if I'm gonna play a video game, I don't want to just like be in my room and like keep playing a game anymore. Like I've done that for a lot of times in my life. Like I really would like I like the way that you can just like escape and like put that shit on. It's like, oh, I want to do a game where I just like paint some shit. Oh, I want to do a game where I just like look at some shit and fish. Oh, I want to do a game where like it's like super hot where like time only moves when you move and shit. Have you ever played Super Hot VR?
No, that one I haven't heard of. No.
That shit is so good. It's like a game where like time only moves when you move, so like nothing's happening. But then like as you move around, things move at the same speed that you're moving. So like a guy will come out from behind a corner and then like if you stop moving, everything will freeze and the bullet's just like floating there. But then you start moving again and like the bullet starts traveling and he keeps moving and like it's a game where you just have to like kind of like Matrix shit. It's like hella fun.
And again, one more time, what is that called? I remember Fez. What is this one called?
It's called. I'll just send it to you. It's like Fez, super hot.
Super hot. Okay, man, some Alan Wake shit. All right. Let me think. Let me get off some. Do you have any? Just going off random. You have any like celebrity crushes or like Instagram crushes? I think that's like the big thing nowadays.
I mean, I don't really like sexually. Like, I'm a really strange person. Like, I'm like crush. Like I'm just like attracted to who I'm attracted to, but like for different reasons and shit. Like, I don't really have any people crush on, but it's like, yeah, I just don't really care. Like, I feel like I've outgrown that. Like, I might have used to, but like I feel like now I just kind of see celebrities as just like normal people that are in strange ass situations, and like I kind of. Like, I don't treat them any differently than I treat, like, normal people in my head if I can. Like, you know, everyone's, like, biased a little bit by, like, Like I'm still programmed like you know, like there's never a way to fully free yourself from that shit, but like you can free yourself a lot. And so like I feel like I'm over here just like kind of like I don't really give a fuck. Like people are people. I don't really. I'm like I mean like if I did I would just like no, but like I'm thinking and it's like no, I don't feel like I don't really care. Like I don't really do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You got any like advice for people that probably want to date? Because you know,
Any advice for people?
So.
Any advice for people? Like here's some advice. There's plenty of like, how do I put this? There's plenty of people that like hate on what I'm doing, and there's even more people that love what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And like, I feel like if you know your intentions are pure and you're trying to help people and you're trying to do something good for yourself and for the people around you, like don't let anybody stop you. There's black people in my life that will like come and tell me like you shouldn't do this, and then like Christ Dillinger's black, but he'll tell me I'm a black person. So it's like, who do I believe? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody. Mm-hmm. I believe what I believe. Like everybody else can have their opinion about what you're doing, but it doesn't matter. Like what you think about what you're doing is what really matters, and you shouldn't let anyone else's opinion change how you feel about what you're doing, because you have to be strong. Like you have to be strong in yourself. Like people having weak wills is the reason that like bad shit happens. So like be strong, be independent, and don't allow anybody to tell you what to do just because they're ignorant and they don't understand. Like if you know what you're doing is for a good reason and for an ultimate good cause, like don't allow anybody to stop you from doing what like that's my advice to anybody. Like people will hate on you just because like they fucking got nothing. They're too busy like not doing something else that's good. Like I don't have time to go and like write hate comments or be like, this guy's not gonna blow up, or like this guy's, because like I just like don't have time to do that because I'm doing other shit that people respect and love. So like don't waste your time. Like go and do what you got to do, because like none of this shit is even real. Like you will die at the end of the day just like me, and like that is okay. Like that is a reality all of us should accept and just do what we got to do, because like it don't matter. Like it really just doesn't matter. Like just do something good, because like that's all that really you could even imply matters, is just making other people feel like they're wanted, they're accepted and loved, because they are, and then just want, love, and accept yourself and go on with your life, you know?
Very true, very true. Any other advices you have for, not advice, sorry, I keep saying advice, not advice. Any more, like things coming up that you want people to know about? You know, like you want to plug yourself, anything?
I make a fuckload of shit all the time. So like, if you just want to like go look at all the shit that I make, I mean, I make a lot. So like, if you don't like one thing, if you don't like that thing, go look at another thing. Like there's tons of stuff I have that I try to express myself as many ways as I can. And I think that it's impossible to like boil me down to like one thing. So like, if I were to say like, is there anything coming out I want you to look at? It's like, yeah, the tons of fucking shit all the time. Just like, you know, if you're interested in what I'm doing, like while I'm alive on this planet, then fucking check me out.
No special albums or anything to look at, or
I mean, like everything that I do, I think like, impactful and special. So I could be like, yeah, I got like a single coming up, or I got like, it's like I'm always working on like a million things. Like I got like music videos coming, like all different kinds. I got fully animated ones with claymation, ones with like real people. Like I got songs coming with this person, that person, this person, like myself. Like I can't really even plug anything. Like it's like literally everything that I do, I think. So like I'm not gonna plug anything over anything else. I feel like at the end of the day, like what I make next week is gonna be cool, and what I make the week after that is gonna be cool, and you know I'll drop whatever I feel like. So like I mean, if I had an album coming, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm planning on dropping like this album like now. But I just released a 20-minute song. Like I don't really like.
Whoa.
I'm just like kind of just like working with my friends and being inspired by my friends and doing like all the shit that I fuck with, and just like that's it. You know, if you fuck with that, then you fuck with me. You know.
Hell yeah. My bad, my lizard messing up. but I listen to everything. Trust me.
No, of course.
No. Shoot, yeah. So, trying to think. I don't know. Do you think I asked enough questions? Anything that you feel like I left out? Any type of?
I mean, ask me a hard question.
That's hard for me.
Let's make that the last one. Ask me like a hard question, like something that you like. That's just like obvious, like something that's just like that people that don't fuck with me might want to know. Beautiful thing.
I don't know. That's a good one for me. Hold up. I've never been challenged.
Like if you had no idea like who I am, ask me something. Like
give me 2 seconds. Hold on. Let's see. If I didn't know you, what would I ask you? Do you hate? No, I don't think that. I'm gonna ask it anyway, but it might not be it. I'll probably ask one more. Do you hate this society? I don't know if I already asked that, but
I wouldn't say hate. I think the society is broken, as most are, because the society is just a bunch of people trying to act like they are one thing, but like a bunch of people are never going to be one thing. They're just going to be a bunch of people. So I think I don't hate the society. I don't hate in general if I can afford to, because hate is just the opposite. It's just like the opposite, but also same thing as love. Like I try to stay away from that. But I mean, like, I don't hate the society. I think that there's things wrong with it. I think that there's people in this world that are misguided. I think that there's people in this world that think that things are real that aren't. Mm-hmm. And I think that what I'm here to do is just kind of like imply what I have to. And I'm not right, you know, because like for me to be right and for you to be wrong or vice versa, there has to be somebody there to decide that. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, nobody's even gonna be alive. Like everyone's gonna die. So like, am I right? Am I wrong? Do I hate this? Is it right? Like I don't know. Like it just is. You know. It is the way it is, and like life is just a constant shifting, and I'm just part of the shift.
That's true. That's one way to look at it. Do you believe in an afterlife? I think that's a good question. Since you follow different like, you know, worldviews, do you have a specific belief on the afterlife?
If anything, if the energy that makes me up goes anywhere or does anything, I mean, obviously, like, it'll just kind of be similar to, like, before I don't remember, because I won't be there to generate memories. We'll probably exist we won't exist, you know, like, there won't be nothing. It'll be something that like we're completely incapable of even perceiving because we're us. Like it'll be some shroom shit. I feel like if there is an afterlife, it'll be some shit where it's like nothing is real and everything is real. It's just at that point you just join the everything and the nothing. Like you just go back to where you came from. You just like right now we are the universe observing itself. Like you are made up of the same things as something that we consider not alive. So what makes you alive? You're the only difference between you and a rock is the fact that like you can like look at the rock and be like, hey, that's a rock, and the rock can't look at you and tell you that you're something. I feel like when we die, we'll go back to that state. Like we'll go back to like a rock state or like a state where like you're not anything. Words don't exist. Like there's nothing, but there's also everything.
Just dormant particles and cells.
Yeah, there's no brain or mind to like, but not dormant because you came from that. Nothing. There at one point there was nothing living, and then like living shit just came. Like because I don't think things that are not alive and things that are alive are. Like I think the only reason that you think you're different than something that's not alive is because you have an ego that you can like identify with. Like you can perceive shit, but it's like maybe that's just enough. Like because I can take shrooms and not be darky anymore. Like we can do drugs that dissolve our sense of self. So like if I can exist in this reality without having a sense of self, that means that when I die, it's probably similar shit, like where I'm just not me anymore. Like I'm just some shit that's incomparable to what I am right now, you know?
That's interesting, but I was gonna let that be, but I do have one, like, not rebuttal, but like a question on that, because what you said, I feel like just goes for beings like us that actually self-reflect. But like, what about this? Like, he's not gonna look at a rock and say anything or think anything about it. His thought process is different from a human. His instinct is to eat, sleep, and reproduce. That's just us.
But the only reason that you can say that is because you are observing him make that determination. If you weren't here to make that determination, he would just exist. But like, even he probably wouldn't.
I'm saying, excluding me, if I don't exist, that he doesn't think like I do, or we do.
So yeah, he doesn't think like you do, and he probably wouldn't even like be like, I exist. Like, he would probably just exist. Like, he would just be doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So like, at the end of the day, like, I think
than the rock. That's all I was asking.
I think that that's what I'm saying is that I think that you are the same as the rock, and he is the same as the rock. Everything is the same as everything. Everything is everything. There's no difference between you and the room you're in or any of that. Like, the only thing that makes it different is you deciding that you're you and not the room. You looking at yourself and saying, I am separate from the wall. Like, that is you deciding that. That's a determination. But like, again, I'm gonna keep bringing it back to shrooms because like, it's the only substance I've ever taken in my life that like dissolved those boundaries. Where like, I've taken shrooms and been sitting there and been like I just am. Like, time doesn't exist. Like, nothing exists. I'm like, I am everything. Like, you become the couch. Like, you just like are everything. Like, you're looking around and you're like, oh, so this is what it's like to die. Like, this is what it's like to exist free from the confines of the human mind. Like, this is what it's like to exist free from determination. Like, when you are nothing, you cannot determine anything. So I find that if you can die while alive, then you can be alive while dead. And you can vice versa. Like, nothing matters. Like, you, right now, the only thing that makes you alive is you deciding that you are. But you're just as dead as you'll be when you die. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. That's a cool way to look at it. That's definitely
like, because like, imagine there's one person. Mm-hmm. The only thing that makes him alive is him deciding that he is.
Yeah.
But imagine that you're looking at that reality through a window. You're in a different universe and you're looking at. Mm-hmm. You're the only one that knows that there's more than him. That there's another living thing, but to him, he's the only thing that exists. Mm-hmm. So like, because you can't know that he's thinking anything because you're outside of him, just like I can't know that you're thinking anything because I'm outside of you. Mm-hmm. You can look at him and say, there's no difference between him being alive or dead because things are going to happen the way they're going to happen. Like, he's going to think he's alive until he can't. Mm-hmm. That's it. But like, imagine if there was one person alive that decided, I'm not alive. I don't even know what that word means. I'm just here. Right. Like the lizard.
He was doing some weird shit.
So if like the lizard, yeah, like if everyone that was alive just thought like the lizard, would anything even be alive? No. Everything would just be the way it is already. The only thing making us alive is being alive. But like, imagine no one ever taught us that. No one ever taught us a way to describe being different than the rock. Then there would be no distinction. We would just be there and be hello and shit. You know, like, there's no difference. The only difference is that we've been programmed and taught that is a thing. But like, nothing is anything unless you decide it is. Like, I could start calling this like a glorb.
And that would be considered a glorb to everyone else.
And it's a glorb, but like, it's not. Like, or I could say this glorb is like everything that's like a virus, right? Like, people say that viruses aren't because they can't die. But like, they move around and make decisions and do things, but like, they're not alive.
Like fire.
So like,
fire spreads.
Exactly. And like, how can you say that when you light a fire, like, I'm gonna use something like a rock might be hard for people that are listening to this to understand, but like, if I light a fire at the bottom of it, or like at the bottom of something flammable or something, right? And it spreads, it moves. What is telling the fire what to do?
It's behavior. It's particles. It's behavior.
Like, what is making it so that this thing does what it does or is hard? Like, why can't I just instantly do anything I want? Because there is intelligence in this. There is something telling this how to be. There is something telling this how to be. When I smash it and it breaks, there's something telling it how to be so that when I drop this, it doesn't do that, but then this acts different. Why? Because there is intelligence in everything. There's intelligence in you telling you how to be. That's no different than this. And so at the end of the day, this entire universe is one living and non-living thing. This entire universe is just one big thing. And that is it. That is all. That is my perspective on the world.
I love that. That's interesting. That is very interesting. I
hope that we can agree to disagree about certain things, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because we'll all go back to where we came from anyway. And it will just be one thing anyway.
That's still an interesting, very interesting thinking. I like that though. I love philosophical topics, but we have to make another video where like we do talk about that, like just specifically. That's something I enjoy a lot.
Hell yeah! If you ever want it, we can just do like as many of these as you want. It's up to you. We're friends now, so it's cool. Hey, you want to wrap it up because it's your show? You want to like say some shit to the humans that are going to be watching this at the end of the video or something?
Fucking humans. Yeah, no, I'll definitely wrap it up. Plus, I gotta, sadly, I have to get to bed for work. But yes, before I do that, is there anything else that anybody wanna shout out? Anything you wanna say?
Shout out Spider Gang, everyone in Spider Gang. Shout out you observing this, I guess. If you're there to observe, like shout you out, like hello. Shout out this lizard. Yes. He's real cool, and he looks like he's enjoying his existence to an extent.
I know the fuck I don't know.
At the end of the day, do what you got to do because at one point in this life, you will not be able to. So do what you got to do, and that's all I gotta say. Go do it.
Most def. I hope you all enjoyed. This is Lil Darkie. Oh, where are you? Where can we listen to your music? What's all your platforms?
Go on Google and type in LIL space DARKIE, and you will find me. That's it.
You will find them there, but I'll still have something in the description, just there, just for something, just for GP. But once again, man, thank you. This is one of my favorite interviews I've done so far. It was really dope, man. I hope you enjoyed it. I really do.
I did.
Dope.
I did.
Most def. So everyone that has been Darkie, this has been Life Happens, and we out.